Hey guys, Jared Glover with Jim Glover Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Owasso, Oklahoma. And with us today is our first 2025 entry-level Grand Wagoneer. So they brought some new packaging and some new standard features for the 2025 model year, along with a price reduction. So through the pandemic, the Jeep brand, we saw some price increases, but then over the last year, they've been making a lot of changes to their MSRP pricing, and then on top of that, they have some great incentives. So they are right back in line with what I feel is exactly where they should be in each individual segment. They've got Ram trucks where they need to be. The Grand Cherokees are back in the ball game. They've got Grand Cherokees back in the 40s from an MSRP standpoint. And this new Grand Wagoneer, get this, 2025 Grand Wagoneer with an MSRP of $87,640. So with discounts, this Grand Wagoneer can be purchased close to $80,000. And when you look at some of the standard content and features that you get for that money, it is a way better value than Escalade, Denali, Navigator. I think they've hit the ball out of the park, and it's going to be pretty awesome. So check it out. We're going to walk through it and show you some of the stuff that comes standard. So again, not Wagoneer, Grand Wagoneer, $87,600. Awesome. Check it out. So for 2025, we had the Grand Wagoneer Series 1, and we didn't have the ability to order them, I think, last year. It was just Series 2 and Series 3. But they reintroduced, and instead of Series 1, it's just Grand Wagoneer is what they're calling it. And then you can go Series 2, Series 3. There's Obsidians in both the Series 2 and Series 3s. Those trim levels still have some different wheels, blackout packages. The Tupelo interior, the really nice Palermo leather is in the Series 3. You can get some of the higher end, like night vision and stuff like that. The refrigerator in the center console. All of that stuff is still reserved for the higher trim levels. But I want to go through the standard content that's in the Grand Wagoneer, which is the standard package. And of course, you can get the same package in the L, which is the extended length. So again, MSRP is $87,640. It still has the high output Hurricane engine. So 500, this is new. 540 horsepower for 2025. So this is the high output that they put in the Ram. So they actually tweaked the horsepower this year. I didn't know that. It was 510 previously. So 540 horsepower, twin turbo. But some of the other stuff that's standard, so the same Quadralift air suspension, adaptive cruise control, active lane management system, full speed collision warning, heads-up display, 360 surround view camera, active drive assist, so that previously wasn't in the Series 1, park sense all the way around it, electronic brake hold, traffic sign recognition, blind spot warning. And then when you get to the interior, standard 12-inch screen, so that's always been the Grand Wagoneer screen. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. The front passenger interactive display is standard now. That was optional previously, so that's all the way down into the entry-level model. Macintosh audio used to be an upgrade, so 19-speaker Macintosh is now standard. Wireless charging pad. The second row seats have the premium center console. I want to talk about that in this video. Grand Wagoneer comes standard with a center console in the second row seat. There is still an orderable option to get a bench if you need a bench, if you want full 8-passenger seating. The way this is configured, it's 2, 2, and 3. The center console has been a concern, especially for GM owners. So like Escalade, Denali, Tahoe, I say we because I'm a lifelong Chevy guy as well. We're used to our kids being able to go through the tunnel between the bucket seats to get to the third row. But with Wagoneer, Grand Wagoneer, the way the seats move, it's actually easier even with the center console. So getting into the third row seat, even with the center console, it's even adult, and I'll just do it. But I'm 6'5" and able to get super comfy in the back of a Grand Wagoneer. The way these seats move to get in and out, it's actually so much easier than crawling through the tunnel in the middle of, say, a Denali or an Escalade or something like that. So this is unique to Wagoneer, Grand Wagoneer. My family, we love it. We have car seats in both of these seats. My bigger kids get in the back, and it's way easier to load and unload because, again, the seats will fold up just like this, even with a car seat buckled into them. Whereas with a typical seat, like a fold and tumble seat, you can't do that because the car seat's there. So this design is actually awesome. for parents. So if you're a parent shopping for a full-size SUV, check out Wagoneer Grand Wagoneer, because that option alone is very unique. Okay, so I'm going to finish going over the sticker. As you can see, power steps, that wasn't originally in the Series 1 Grand Wagoneer, so that's new for 2025. To be standard in this package is really awesome. Heated steering wheel, heated and ventilated front seats, heated second row seats. So I think the ventilated second row seats is reserved for the Series 2 and Series 3. 20-way power, driver and passenger seat. I believe it does have massage seats, even in the Series 1. We're going to see when we hop in here in a second. Automatic high beam headlamps was reserved for the higher trim previously. Tri-pane standard sunroof, power steps, and power folding mirrors. That was one of the things that was a miss with Wagoneer when they first launched, was the lack of power folding mirrors in some of the lower level trims. You didn't get it until like Series 3. Didn't make a lot of sense. So they brought that down standard, even in the Wagoneer. That's now standard content, which is, it's important, you know, parking, being able to fold your mirrors in, whatever that scenario is. And it's right here on the dial. So they fold just like that. So standard 22-inch wheels. Previously, the base Grand Wagoneer wheel was a 20, so they went to the 22. This wheel is awesome because it's all one-piece aluminum. It's able to be powder-coated. Some of the upper trim level Grand Wagoneer wheels can't be powder-coated because they've got chromed inserts. But this wheel, if you want it to be all black, even when it's not an obsidian, you can have these powder-coated, and it looks as a really, really nice wheel to fix up that way. Black roof is standard. Before, this was optional. So you had an option to go black roof or body color roof. Power lift gate. A little bit of storage under the seat. And then power folding third row seats. And you also have buttons back here to tumble the second row if you want complete cargo space from back here. Oh, this is cool. Window shades. So that's now standard. This was previously reserved for Series 2 and up. In Wagoneer, this is possible, but I think it's in the Series 3 premium group. So again, you know, parents with young kids, car seats, being able to have a collapsible window shade like that's pretty cool. So with the Ram 1500, the big conversation this year is the new powertrain. So it's a 3-liter twin turbocharged inline 6, and it's called the Hurricane. So this powertrain is now in our half-ton truck. There's a standard output and a high output. The standard output truck has 420 horsepower. That same engine is in the Wagoneer now with 420 horsepower. That's about a 40 to 50 horsepower increase over the 5.7 Hemi. So way more horsepower, much more efficient, better fuel economy. And then the high output in both the Grand Wagoneer and in the Ram 1500. So you get high output with Longhorn, Limited, and RHO. And then you get high output in Grand Wagoneer starting with the base model Grand Wagoneer, 540 horsepower. So that's a 30 horsepower improvement over last year's high output, but a significant improvement over the 6.4 liter Hemi. So fuel economy is much better. The 6.4 Hemi, I think in the Grand Wagoneer, originally had 470 horsepower. So you're talking about 80 horsepower or 70 horsepower increase going to a twin turbo inline 6. Okay, so now that we're inside, going to try to compare some of the stuff that's now standard, which was previously either in a package or so. First thing is the tri-pane sunroof. So there's actually 3 panels of glass, one all the way over the third row seat that's unique to Wagoneer. The pane in the back, full panoramic big roof, heads up display, full digital driver's information center. So this looks just like a Series 3. So you don't lose a lot of content. Passenger screen is now standard, and it's one-way glass, so the driver can't see that screen. There's a separate HDMI port The passenger can have their own entertainment options, their own Bluetooth headphone connection, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, same 12-inch screen as the Series 3. And then really the massage seat controls are here. The wireless charger is in there. My wife drives a Series 3 Obsidian. And as far as, button layout and overall content, a lot of the same stuff in the standard 87,640 MSRP. Okay, so back inside at the computer now. We just spent some time outside with the entry-level Grand Wagoneer for 2025. So as we talked about outside, the trim level differences, and I might as well go all the way into that. Wagoneer L is extended. Grand Wagoneer L is the extended version. So Grand Wagoneer L competes with Navigator L, Escalade, ESV. The entry-level Grand Wagoneer L will compete with Denali XL, things like that. The Wagoneer L is like Tahoe, Suburban, Yukon XL. So some of the new stuff for 2025, and I really think Wagoneer absolutely nailed it. If you followed along with Wagoneer, if you've owned a Wagoneer, we've had a little bit of there were some hiccups on the launch. The 2022s had some nitpicky issues that we had to work through. We were actually in the top 5 of total Wagoneer sales in 2022. So we sold a lot of them. We've supported a lot of customers through some of the early issues. Now that we move into the 4th model year, so we had the 22s, the 23s, the 24s, now the 25s, they have gotten better and better and better. By late 2023, getting into the 2024s, they got light years better, and I'm confident now in the 2025, a lot of the early issues have been put to bed. They were software glitchy issues. If you're not familiar, and I'm a dealer and I'm willing to talk about it, the early issues had a lot to do with the radio. I think and I'm not an engineer, but I have an opinion. I don't know if they just didn't have enough processing power to operate everything that car does, but it's like there wasn't enough brain behind the brawn of everything they tried to put in the car, and that has gotten better and better. We've seen fewer and fewer Uconnect radio issues. Uconnect 5 is on its 5th model year. We got Uconnect 5 in 2021 in the Rams. So I think things are getting better and better. They're dialed in. My wife's in a 2025 Grand Wagoneer L. I think we can probably insert a video of me doing donuts in it in the snow. Come on. So that's my wife's 2025 Grand Wagoneer L. Yes, that was a lot of fun, and the horsepower out of the Hurricane is incredible. But that has Revel lift links on the air suspension. So it's factory air suspension with lift links. It allows us to run a 33-inch tire. We've gone up to a 34.8. It's a metric size. We have a video giving details of that we can link to. If you go to that size tire, you have to run a 24 because we tried it on a 22 and you get too much balloon in the sidewall and it starts rubbing on the control arms. But if you can go to a 24-inch wheel, we ran Vossens. They're a partner of ours and we love their wheels. So if you want to run the biggest tire profile, you have to go to a 24-inch wheel. But where we've settled in is a 33 1250 on a 22. It's a great look, and we've done that package probably 12 times now. So if you're interested in lifting a Grand Wagoneer, we're good at it. So feel free to reach out. You can go straight to Glover Customs or straight to me, and I'd love to answer your questions and make sure we find you the correct Wagoneer, Grand Wagoneer to start with, to where the final result is exactly what you want. So one question we've gotten a little bit in relation to lifting Wagoneer, Grand Wagoneer. So you get air ride when you go carbide or Series 3 in a Wagoneer. You get air ride across the entire Grand Wagoneer platform. So Grand Wagoneer is very easy. Wagoneer, we've got to make sure we have the right package. We can help walk you through that. But if you start with a Series 2 or a regular Wagoneer, used to be the Series 1, now it's just Wagoneer. There is a lift kit option available. Feel free to reach out. We can walk you through that. But if you want to do the air lift links, which is the easiest way to lift one and still maintain great ride quality, you got to start with something with air suspension, which I believe is from carbide and up on Wagoneer. And again, standard on all Grand Wagoneer. Okay, so 2025, Jeep made some huge price moves. We've seen Wagoneer when Grand Wagoneer came out, a fully loaded Series 3. like every option was around 110 to 112,000. That grew over the course of the last couple of years, and we had a couple Series 3 Obsidians hit the lot at 123,850, and that was, you know, the max tow package, the rear video screens, Obsidian package, Series 3s, 123,800. That same package today has been reduced significantly, and we're back around the original pricing when it launched in 2022. So I've got some details. The biggest price swing happened on the entry level. So and what they did is they reduced MSRPs while at the same time adding a lot of standard content. And I've got it pulled up on the screen, that the details that have been shared with us. There were several options and features that I think customers in the large SUV game they've grown to expect. And whether it comes standard on their Tahoe or they had it in their Denali, and well, my Escalade always had this. And there's some conversations that I think Jeep did a really good job of listening to, and they brought a lot of new standard content while at the same time reducing the MSRP of the car. So I think they are positioned to be incredibly successful. The vehicles side by side are amazing, so my wife drives a Wagoneer. My sister is the dealer at our Chevy store. She drives a Tahoe, but they've both driven both. My wife spent some time in a Suburban over Christmas because we sold her Grand Wagoneer, and my sister is currently driving a Wagoneer that we just lifted because she sold her Tahoe. So they've both spent time in both, and I think that's going to be another podcast episode where we sit and we're just going to talk it through, and it's going to be from two moms that have experienced both cars, but they're both kind of biased one way or the other. My wife pulls for the Grand Wagoneer. My sister's going to pull for the Tahoe Suburban. But it should be a fun conversation. What do you love? What do you hate about it? And get some really honest feedback from moms that drive them on a daily basis. So I'll dive in now to the content and give you some price updates. The Grand Wagoneer that we just looked at outside was $87,640. I'm doing that off of memory, but $87,640 starting MSRP for a 2025 Grand Wagoneer. That rig is going to transact in the low to mid 80s. I think they have done a phenomenal job of bringing a lot of car that's going to go head to head with a Denali in the same price range. And I think if you put them side by side and you drive them both, and you give the Grand Wagoneer an honest opportunity to earn your business, I think side by side the Grand Wagoneer is the better car. So here's some of those content changes. Okay, so a lot of the enhancements across the board. So new standard content across every Wagoneer, Grand Wagoneer. So standard 20-inch wheels on the Wagoneer. The Grand Wagoneer got standard 22s. Standard adaptive cruise control. These were optional upgrades last year. Standard active lane management, standard wireless charging. And then when you get to the Series 2 on Wagoneer, drowsy driver detection is new. It's a sensor in the steering column. Second row window shades is now standard. That used to be a part of a very expensive premium group. Traffic sign recognition, side distance warning, 360 surround view camera. I'm gonna stop here. So we've all become accustomed to surround view cameras now. Wagoneer, that was not possible without the premium group and Series 2 or Series 3. So if you had a Series 2 carbide without the premium group, you had an $83,000 MSRP Wagoneer with no surround view camera. So that was previously a miss that they realized it and they fixed it. Intersection collision assist and parallel and perpendicular park assist all got added standard. As I said, when we were in the Grand Wagoneer, they've also added power folding mirrors. That was something that was missing. I'm not certain that goes all the way down to the base Wagoneer, but it is in the base Grand Wagoneer. We can confirm that once we don't have a base Wagoneer here yet, but once we do, maybe we can add it in the comments and answer that question. So the next slide that they shared with us is price reduction on Wagoneer, and then we'll talk about Grand Wagoneer here in a second. But so the Wagoneer starting MSRP for a Series 1 was $65,945. They reduced that by $3,000 while also adding $1,495 worth of content, the new standard content. So a value swing was $4,500. So lower MSRP, more content. When you get to the Series 2, it took a $5,100 price reduction. Same standard content in the Series 2 as last year. And then when you get to the Series 3, they reduced MSRP by $5,685. They added $2,395 worth of additional content for an $8,000 value swing from the 2025 to the 2024. And then Grand Wagoneer, this is where the biggest swing is. So from a value proposition with Grand Wagoneer, the Series 1, which is the window sticker just says Grand Wagoneer. It's not a Series 2 or a Series 3, not an Obsidian. They've reduced the MSRP by $7,000 while adding $6,690 in additional content for a $13,000 value swing of what it took to get the same options in 2024 versus what they're offering standard now. So that swing, and when I talk about in comparison to Denali, from what I've seen, a lot of the Denali's land in the 90s. You're now sub $90,000 with all of the content that you need to go head to head and win in a lot of cases in a direct comparison with Denali or the base model Escalade. When you get to the Series 2, it's a $5,400 price decrease with $495 in additional content. When you get to the Series 3 Grand Wagoneer, the Series 3 Grand already has everything. So they took a $4,650 price decrease in the 2025 versus 24, and then you keep all of the content that the Series 3 already had. So the 2025 standard content in Grand Wagoneer, I missed this a second ago. I was on a Wagoneer slide. But standard content for Grand Wagoneer, standard 22-inch wheels, which we saw that outside. Standard passenger screen, which that was like a $14.95 option last year. Standard active drive assist. So that I think you didn't get that till Series 2 or Series 3 last year. So standard active drive assist, standard drowsy driver detection, and traffic sign recognition. So honestly, I think the Grand Wagoneer now, even the base model, is a home run at the price point it's in. And then when you go to Series 2 or Series 3, it really is just, creature comforts, fit and finish, which is really comparable to Escalade. You get an upgraded leather quality in the Series 3. If you want to go Obsidian, you get nicer wheels and blacked out badges. If you want the Tupelo interior, that's only available in Series 3. So there's going to be things that set the Series 2 and 3 apart. But I think for the most part, even just the regular Grand Wagoneer is going to be an absolute value in the premium large SUV game. And 540 standard horsepower is significantly higher than the Escalade or the Denali without going to Escalade V. But now you're 150,000 plus if you can even find one. But standard powertrain, the Hurricane is far and away a more powerful and going to be a better driving experience when comparing to Denali and Escalade.
Okay, so like I said in the beginning of the video, MSRP is $87,640 on the entry level Grand Wagoneer, and I'm impressed. They got it right. They've got all the standard content that they needed, and I think this is going to go head to head with Denali and Escalade and win hands down. If anybody that comes and drives one of these comparatively to one of the upper end GM SUVs, I think they're going to love it. These are going to transact in the low to mid 80s. So when you're comparing pricing, just keep that in mind. $87,640 MSRP, you should be able to buy this vehicle close to $80,000. And I think for that kind of money, it's spot on and an absolute home run. So again, my name's Jared Glover. I'm the dealer at Jim Glover Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Owasso, Oklahoma. If you have any Wagoneer, Grand Wagoneer specific questions, my wife and I, we have 4 little boys. Grand Wagoneer is my wife's car. So we've been in them for 3 years now. We know all the ins and outs. We have a lot of experience with them. We love them. We're partial, obviously, but if you have any questions, feel free to reach me directly, jglover@jimglover.com. And thank you for watching.